everyone, you're watching Soundwaves TV. Chasta here with Deadly Vices. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Good to be here.
Dennis actually first found you, and he was like, oh, this band's from Pacifica, because you live in Pacifica, right?
That's right. Yeah.
We're neighbors, and we didn't know it until this very moment. I won't give your address or anything, but you live on an opposite side of town from me, so that's why we haven't run into each other. So, Deadly Vices, how did you all come to be? We've mentioned Pacifica, friggin' Colorado. Like, how did this band form? When, where, why, and how?
Well, we used to be doing Seattle.
How much time do we have?
All the time in the world, though.
We used to be doing a Seattle Big Four tribute called Seattle's Best.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yes.
I love it. Yes.
So we were doing obviously all cover bands covering Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam. Mm-hmm. And the pandemic came around and kind of shut that down. And not to provide the cliche pandemic story, we had so much time on our hands.
Yeah, well, it's everybody's story. Is what it is.
That actually is what happened. And we decided to, we were not doing anything with gigs. He had moved away to Colorado. We figured we can do stuff remote, and we did. And we went to work with a producer by the name of Kane Churko. He's produced Five Finger Death Punch.
I was just going to say, that's who I thought it was. Yeah.
Some other big names. And
that's awesome. How did you get, not to cut you off, but how did you get in touch with him? How'd that relationship work?
Anthony's persistence.
Okay.
Mostly. That's
great. You got to have that.
It was kind of one of those things where we were like, we should find a producer. Do you know a producer? No. Do I know a producer? No. So it was just like email spam. And actually, since I was in Colorado, we're trying to find a studio that was halfway between. Mm-hmm. So we thought Vegas.
Yeah.
And then we, researched Vegas studios, and his name came up. And, with those things, just getting a response is never guaranteed. So he responded, and I wasn't really that familiar with who he was. Mm-hmm. And then when I went and looked him up and just saw the things that he's done, started listening to the radio, paying attention to who produces what, it's like, wow, this guy has a lot of stuff on the radio. Yeah. And so, he really just kind of took us under his wing, to be honest. He just happened to be during COVID, in the middle of COVID, there wasn't a lot going on at the time.
Yeah.
And he actually wasn't busy. He wasn't actively working on a band that was in a between touring cycles, releasing stuff.
Yeah. So the universe worked out in your favor. Yeah. Like, boom, exactly. This is the moment in time where you can grab them.
That's right.
That's very cool.
And we, of course, knew of Kevin Churko, his dad, who produced the Slash solo album that I really loved.
Which I love,
a couple Ozzy albums, and just some amazing stuff.
That's cool. We have to get you on a bill with Stateland Empire, because their bassist, Scott Proctor, is Five Finger Death Punch. He's their guitar tech, and he does their backup vocals. So it's like a whole come full circle moment there.
Done.
It's all about making these connections in the music industry. That's that's an awesome start. So out the gate, because let's be honest, like, real talk behind the curtain, like, you don't always get any kind of response. You can throw out 300 of those emails and they go off into the ether and nothing ever happens. So you must have been like jumping up and down like, holy crap, this is great. And the universe just kind of worked out timing wise, I guess, for you. That's huge.
We almost looked a gift horse in the mouth, though. We were almost like, this guy sounds too modern. We're really like,
oh wow,
we're kind of classic rock and grunge snobs in a way.
Yeah, okay,
and we're like,
that's fair.
This, because we love the sound of Lane Staley and Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, all that great stuff. And it's like, well, this stuff sounds a little overproduced. And then we slapped ourselves and said, what the F are we thinking?
But you know what? You make a valid point, though. And actually, from the second Dennis turned me on to you guys, as soon as I heard you, Alice in Chains, like, Lane Staley is a god in my world. Like, I grew up, he was my everything. My first day on the radio was the day he died. I had to, that was my first moment. I had to go on the air and tell people he died. I was crushed and crying. People thought I was a jock that was like making it up, because way before social, it was crazy. So big Alice in Chains fan. As soon as I heard you guys, I was like, whoop, Alice in Chains, I hear it, it's there. Little Stone Temple Pilots sprinkled in, it's there. That's my wheelhouse. Like, that's age wise, right? That's what I was raised to and everything, and you guys do it really well. I'm curious though, you have almost a bigger like arena sound, like a really full, like, it doesn't have the full on grunge. It has more of like a full boasty big arena sound. Is that what you're going for, or is that just what's coming out?
I think with Kane, we realized, like, we wanted to kind of do the old stuff, but also we wanted to bring it modern.
It's like a modern twist on it.
Yeah, so he actually did more than produce the songs. He kind of educated us on, it's like what level do you guys want to play at? If you want to do your kind of artistic throwback stuff, we can do that. You know, he was totally open to that. But if you want to be like more kind of marketable, more radio ready, you know, and so he was the one that brought that to what we were doing. And really, I think every band goes through this, is where we had probably 20 songs, ideas, you know, and he was like, he picked the ones that he thought would be marketable. And he kind of brought the sound out.
That's a good lesson to learn.
It's like, what's the biggest version of you guys, of what you guys want to do.
And if you're going to have him, you might as well let him do his thing.
For
right?
sure.
Why hire the guy and then handcuff him to say you have to sound like 1990?
That is so well said. But that's also you sort of taking off your armor, right? And letting your ideas and your ego go, and trusting somebody that you really don't know. You're trusting who he's worked with in his resume and his experience, certainly. But it is a chance. You know, I would say you're definitely putting a lot of trust into somebody.
And it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable. It was like, because when you're in there, you don't know how it's going to turn out. So it was a bit of a leap of faith, but he had educated us enough to where we trusted him.
Yeah.
And so the
it paid
results turned out, you know, better than we could have imagined.
Really genuine dude, and really reliable too.
Yeah.
In the music business, there are so few reliable people. He shows up on time, works really hard, and we learned a ton from him.
That's very cool. Yeah. You guys kind of came to the table with like all guns blazing, like, and that's a big deal because it matters now. Like in social media, your logo, your merch, your YouTube page, your all the things. Is that all done in house? Like you guys do all your social media and push out all your stuff, or do you hire out to do that?
Anthony's kind of the mastermind behind that stuff.
He's like, yes,
like I said, he has all the talent. I do all the work. That's the breakdown.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
No, it's really, we've had some help. We've had some, more. We have a marketing person, but that's more of a consulting role. So we've had guidance.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much all DIY. And as far as, all honesty, these songs were done like 2 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So just launching a band, to do it the right way, to get a logo, to get band photos, set up all the socials. You guys know it takes a lot of work. So it's been a work in progress. And
so I think the lesson would be patient. And like get all the content ready, get it all, like not just the songs. Did you hear that? That's a really good point. Not just the songs, but all of it. A package deal together.
Yeah, and it was kind of a battle just to get the songs done. And you think like, okay, the songs are done, the hard work's done.
It's ready to go. Not even close. Not today.
And we started kind of in reverse because we recorded these what we think were great songs with Kane, and then we're like, well, we don't have any following. We're just gonna throw these great songs out there,
right?
So we took some songs that weren't as good and we kind of worked those up first. So that's what most people have heard at this point.
Well, they were good in a different way. They were kind of our satisfying that 90s grunge. We had to get that fix out of our system.
Sure.
And we hadn't done that yet. So,
but it'll also attract people like me, right, who grew up with that sound and is in love with that sound and goes, oh, I'm digging this band, and will then follow you through that maze of whatever you end up on the other side to be. And maybe that's a good trick, an unintentional situation. But hey, I mean, I would ask you, what are your goals in 2023? Because we talk a lot on this show about how the industry sort of ebbs and flows, and it's completely different than, you brought up Slash earlier, doing a solo album and all that. When he was up and coming, this is a very different industry. So how do you set goals, and what does it mean to the two of you to sort of make it in 2023? I know that's heavy. Take your time.
Take that one.
We can talk about this stuff for days, so don't. Yeah. I would say the goals for 2023 is just for people to know who we are.
That's fair.
That's number one. I think when we started, I think the goal was maybe a little different. I don't know if every band does this, but it's like, our stuff is good, so we, we'll be successful just because kind of thing. But when that doesn't happen out of the gate, it happens maybe 1 in a million, 1 in a couple 100,000 that a band will just come out of the gate and hit.
Whatever reason.
Yeah, and but So I think for us is just for people to know who we are.
Yeah.
You know, get the name out there. We're both pretty financially secure, so we're not trying to make money. You know, it would be nice if we could get it to a place where it kind of sustains itself.
Yeah, sure.
Because right now we're all, you know, self-funded.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you just said, pretty much make sure that it can get in front of the right ears. Maybe that's doing some radio promotion or some PR stuff to kind of push it out there to
Interviews.
people who can people who can kind of push it out there and maybe get it in front of maybe in the right ears pretty much. But we don't necessarily have streaming goals. Obviously you want people to listen to it, but if we could get a push from the right people at some point, that'd be great. Otherwise, I will say it is just nice to get your creation out there, and like you were saying earlier, setting everything up ahead of time to know that you kind of maximized what it can do.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. And what you just said is a real good goal of, like, honestly, I feel like a goal, if I were in a band, and hell, for Soundwaves, is just to get people to stop the scroll. Just to stop for a second and see the art that you're making, whether it's this show, your music, whatever it is. It's like, if you could just grab somebody's attention. It's funny because you have this song Notice Me that's so powerful, and video that's so powerful about, you know, Notice Me, because social media can be so awesome to connect you and to expose great art, but it can also be this desperate search for attention. It's got multifaceted situation going on, you know, Jekyll and Hyde kind of.
That's why I let him handle the social media. Most of the time you can find me right down the street at Rockaway in the water.
Yes. Okay, that's fair.
And he's handling the social media.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges before the band thing. We weren't even on social media.
Yeah. It forced your hand.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
And now I'm over here like this, like, you know, are we getting likes? Are we getting follows? Are we growing? You want to always be growing, but
Sure.
It's kind of a multifaceted thing, and us just being here, sitting here with you, and you mentioning like, hey, you guys should do a show with State Line Empire.
Yeah.
You know, just getting those kind of opportunities, getting people to know who we are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can really have any goals beyond that.
Yeah.
You know, when you first start, because we just started.
You're coming out of the gate at this point. I mean, that's what we feel like our job is to connect bands, to make those bridges between bands, and to help everyone rise up together. And the more, I mean, in my opinion, and Dennis and I talk ad nauseum about this, the more bands care about each other, the whole scene rises. And going back to 90s in Seattle, that's why that happened, is because those bands were living in a bubble. They weren't paying attention to the rest of the world. They didn't give a flying F. They went to each other's shows, you know, and they were helping push each other, and that matters. So that's definitely what we're here for. And anytime we can help do that, then we've won.
Yeah, no, I'd say in that regard, you guys are pretty rare.
Yeah.
Because there's still a lot of gatekeeping that happens.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're anointed, you know, kind of everything gets by, but if you're not, and it makes sense because there's a lot of bands that aren't serious.
Yeah.
You know, they're not serious. So we're just trying to kind of separate ourselves from those, and also have some sort of a plan and some like consistency with what we're doing. That's why we're putting a single out every couple months.
Yeah, keep that train going, right?
Yeah.
Keep feeding the monster, feeding the beast.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
This one's a little different.
Yeah.
You know, but it's always bringing that professionalism. If you look at our album covers, like, people don't see the work that goes into it, but, you know, it takes a lot of work. Our logo was kind of like, there was some struggles that happened behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And hopefully that pays off.
Your most recent single, Loaded Gun, man, that would terrify me. If I were single, I would not want to be on a dating website dating a female. You listen to the lyrics, you're like, holy shit, she's crazy.
I was like, is there something I should know about you and Kelly?
I've dated the male version of that, though, I will say. So, you know, we all have one of those.
Yeah, it's definitely not gender specific.
Yeah, it goes not
both
gender
ways.
Specific. Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, we know crazies on both sides, but it is so well done. All right, so what's next for you? Where do you hang out most on social media?
Instagram, probably. Yeah, we're not so much on the TikTok yet. We're trying.
Don't do it. Don't.
You know, there's a lot of good young energy on TikTok.
There is. Yeah.
It gets a bad rap, but there's people who are hungry for music, and people who may not be familiar with our genre even who are checking us out on TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Facebook, YouTube. We have a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Definitely the videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And because it's just such a huge part of the game, please stream us on Spotify.
Yeah, it is.
Every stream counts.
Every stream
counts for
right.
0.0003 cents, folks.
Thank God you both have
please,
great
thank
jobs.
you.
I'm just going to say that, right? We all know about streaming. All right, so what video are we going to play? What did we decide here? Downriver?
We're going to play Downriver.
Downriver.
Let's do
All
it.
right,
Yeah.
so you've got Deadly Vices, Downriver. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for
Really
having us.
appreciate
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Awesome.
you.
You guys
Thanks,
are
Chasta.
fantastic.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing more from Deadly Vices. You're watching Soundwaves TV. We'll be right back. Please consider helping us continue our mission of lifting and supporting independent music by becoming a Soundwaves patron. In exchange, you'll be the first to see and hear all of our weekly shows, as well as have access to exclusive content. Just go to patreon.com/SoundwavesTV.